Katya looked out the window, tired, and waved lazily. Below, in front of the maternity ward, Mosia was waiting. Today was her husband's discharge day, and little Kirill had already been taken for a short photo session and the drive home. Soon, he could finally be dressed in his cozy terry robe, slip his tiny feet into warm socks, and she could finally rest and spend time with her son. She tugged at her beautiful dress and glanced down regretfully. It felt tight somehow. She longed to be home in peace. She was utterly exhausted from the hospital walls and the constant noise of the maternity ward. Stretching, she reached for the mirror to touch up her makeup and waved her hand resignedly. What did it matter how she looked? She just wanted to get home. Even festive photos felt like too much. The labor had been long and difficult, and Kirill turned out to be a loud, restless baby. Despite 5 days passing, Katya couldn't feel fully herself. She kept reassuring herself that home would be much better as she waited on the couch for the nurse to call her to the vestibule. Katya truly believed her beloved husband would be a strong support and helper. They had waited so long for this baby, carefully planning everything. An experienced nurse helped the young mother up and escorted her to the doctor's office to collect the discharge papers. Finally holding the documents, she stepped into the vestibule under the flashes of cameras. "Honey, I have a surprise for you," Igor whispered happily, helping her and the baby down the steps. She smiled gratefully. She expected a huge bouquet, maybe a golden ring, or at least some of her favorite pastries. But the surprise turned out to be something completely different. Suddenly, her husband's relatives appeared from the car, forming a tight circle around her and the baby, eager to greet the newest family member all at once. Katya forced a polite smile through the kisses and congratulations. She had no energy or desire for such close interaction. All she wanted was to go home with her husband and their newborn. The family, however, had other plans. "We have to celebrate this joyful event right away," someone insisted. Peeking into the envelope, the relatives added, "We must properly meet the heir." Katya felt exhausted, but Emma Sergeyevna, her mother-in-law, firmly dismissed all objections. "Son, it's tradition. You must celebrate this with your close ones." All the way home, Igor tried to explain. "Katya, I couldn't say no to my parents. Everyone left their own affairs just to be here for us." But she only sighed sadly. Her own parents lived far away. It would have been impossible for them to join. For the first time in her life, she was thankful she was from another city. At least she didn't have to worry about her own relatives. Soon it became clear that the guests weren't leaving anytime soon. Making themselves at home in the young couple's modest 2-bedroom apartment, they entertained themselves with long conversations. "Come on, set the table," Nikolai Petrovich said, rubbing his hands. "It's our grandson's first day home after all." Everyone gathered around the table. Katya heaved a heavy sigh and went to the kitchen. For over an hour, she tried to prepare some kind of dinner without enjoying it at all. The guests, her husband, and the baby all seemed to make everything harder. Igor's young nephews ran around, playing chase, oblivious to the adults' excitement over the baby. No one offered Katya any help with the meal. Nikolai Petrovich quickly shifted from talking about the baby to chatting with his son about fishing. Emma Sergeyevna discussed curtain designs with her daughter. Thankfully, Katya had pre-prepared many frozen cutlets, but Igor still ran to the store for bread and sliced meats. Finally, they sat down at the modest table. Katya quickly fled to the nursery to tend to Kirill, leaving the others to eat. Nearly an hour later, she returned to find the table empty. "Oh, you must be hungry too," said Anna, Igor's sister, theatrically clutching her head. "I'm sorry," Katya muttered, exhausted. The children had eaten everything, and it seemed she was the one to blame. Katya frowned. She didn't care about the food. All she wanted was peace and rest. "I'm very tired," she explained politely, trying not to make a scene. Her mother-in-law shrugged. "Don't worry. Be patient, as if grandchildren are born every day," she said disapprovingly. "I had 2 children myself, Anna too, but traditions are traditions," she added. Everyone shifted to other topics. Katya felt like she could scream. Finally, she snapped at her husband directly. "I have nothing against your relatives, but this circus has to stop. Kirill is crying constantly. I feel like I can't take it. She went into the nursery, firmly closing the door behind her. Only faint sounds of relatives complaining in the hallway reached her ears. When she returned, the table was cleared, dishes piled up, and Igor looked annoyed. "Why did your family only congratulate us over the phone?" he asked. But Katya ignored him. Her own mother had sent money and a parcel of gifts and would come in a month to see the baby that evening. An unpleasant conversation took place between Katya and Igor. Emma Sergeyevna criticized her daughter-in-law for refusing to let Igor's friends into the house, endless crying of the baby, and her untidy appearance. "You can't handle your motherly duties," Igor accused her. Katya exploded with anger. "Of course, you're the perfect father. Enough already." She stormed into the nursery to pack her son's things. "I'll stay with my mother for a month," she told her husband. "Hopefully, we can calm down and figure out how to live together after that." Igor didn't want to let her go, but the hurt was too strong. He didn't move a finger to stop her. The apartment felt cold and empty. Without Katya. He could have invited friends or other relatives, but he had no desire. While she stayed at her mother's, Igor buried himself in work to avoid dwelling on the stress of the day. He didn't consider cleaning or shopping. Suddenly, these tasks became problems. Her mother and sister did not hurry to help Igor with the household, and doing everything alone was challenging. 2 weeks later, Igor hesitantly called her. "I was thinking, maybe you could come home earlier. I can come on any day." Katya smirked. She had already rested from Kirill's constant crying and had time to reflect on her behavior. "Sometimes, you have to make mutual compromises." She remembered how her own parents' impatience and harshness had destroyed their family. She desperately hoped that she and Igor would have enough sense not to act rashly and to live together peacefully, without negativity or resentment. If it meant shielding their small family world from external interference, she was ready to be strong until the very end. Please support the channel with a like. It won't cost you much, but it means a lot to me. See you next time.